Hello, Twitch, and hello, Internet. To all those who seek adventure, justice, and big damage numbers that come out of the enemy's heads, welcome to Knights of New Avalon, a Beacon Odyssey and the only NLR game with extra loot drops. Speaking of loot drops, last time our players managed to save the Magnolia Realms from a outside force that had taken over and manipulated the sort of middle management, the logistics part of the nation, and almost split it into 5 separate pieces that, as our beacons are aware, would have been extremely disastrous even if it did work, which it probably wouldn't have. And to remind no, I have skipped the gun. I don't need to do all of that intro because first my players here need to introduce themselves. I'm so sorry. I'm skipping everything. My name is Tate Washburn, and I'm running everything else in the world, and I would love my players to introduce themselves, who they're playing, and probably we're going to get into what they're doing, so I don't know. I'm a little off game today. Starting off first, let's go with Lucian.
Hey, that's all right. It's been 2 weeks.
Right.
Many things have changed, right? I'm Lucian. I'm playing Cam, our fisherman, our dwarf life weaver, and I'm excited to see about more loot because loot is good, and more loot is more good.
Loot is good. Loot is great.
Yeah.
Let's move on over to Chows. Muted.
Aha! I thought I was muted and I was.
Guys, we're
Hello,
professionals. It's
everyone.
okay.
I'm so sorry. I
Everything's
have
fine.
brought the wrong energy to the beginning of this, haven't I? Oh,
Hello, everyone. I'm Chouse. I'll be playing Ajax, our Machina gunslinger. Yeah. Autism incarnate.
absolutely. Moving up to Egg.
Oh, hi! I'm Emily or Eggchan, and I have the joy of playing Haze, our Cambion Gravewalker, anxiety incarnate.
And last but never, absolutely ever last and least is Foxy.
What's up, gang? I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite Fox Philly's finest, and today I'm happy to reprise my role as Kana Alva, our elf arsenal, littlest guy with the mostest swords, and I'm looking forward to maybe getting another sword today.
Much loot abounds, much opportunity awaits, and again, sorry for starting off on exactly the wrong foot. As I said, loot drops because you finished a quest. Although the last detail that you got is the one that we're going to sort of drop in on, if you remember that Anselm came in kind of beat up and said that your fellow beacon Maeve was gone. You are all returning back home to New Avalon, or at least back to base in New Avalon by your separate ways. Cam, you have your houseboat, which I would assume that Kana has got a ride on, and Ajax, you have the bike of the reborn hamlet that you have borrowed that Hayes is riding back on. On each form of transportation, each of you has one of those metal boxes, if you remember from the first quest that you get at the end. Your ship sort of condenses a lot of these etheric energies when traveling between realms or when a realm is destabilized. And you each have a metal crate that you'll be able to open up, and it will randomly congeal into a new magical item or ability or skill of some kind. And you would be excited about that if you were not thinking about what you had heard. Anselm told you that while trying to enter the realm palace, he was attacked, him and Maeve and the captain. And he doesn't quite understand exactly what happened, but Maeve recognized the attacker. He described them as wearing all dark gear of cloth, but strange goggles and strange guns and weaponry, and a lot of sort of bright neon magics. And Maeve simply said that she had to go to fight her old home. Anselm has plans about this. He's going to try and sort of cover for her in this time, but you don't know when you will see her again. For now, it is only you four. And if you would like, you may have a moment to think and talk about that here as you travel back home.
I think Kana is taking it surprisingly well. Like, obviously has concern for a friend, and like wants to know that she's okay, but trusts that she's competent and understands that she has her own war to fight. And yeah, I think he's like given solace in that, I guess, enough that he's not going to worry about her too much. Like he hopes she's okay. He hopes to hear from her sometime soon, but is otherwise just comfortable to know that she's where she wants to be.
Mm-hmm. You may also, if you would like, here reflect on the mission you just had. You have an opportunity and a few hours travel between.
Yeah,
with
that
one of
makes
your
enough sense.
companions.
Yeah, I think he'll kind of like trudge up to Cam, who I assume is hanging over the side of the boat doing some fishing,
Oh yeah.
and kind of like sit himself on the side of the boat, kind of leg swinging a little bit, and just a worthwhile endeavor indeed, friend Cam. An adventure worth telling.
You have a nibble on your line, Cam.
Cam will drop the fishing rod and jump low and go, "How did you? You have to stop getting on this boat."
You have to stop letting me on.
Do you not have your own form of transportation?
No?
Okay, fine. He'll pick up the fishing rod. I'm assuming the fish is gone now.
It's actually harder to pick up. Something is stuck on it. It almost
Oh.
feels like it's snagged on something. Actually, not like less of a bite.
I believe you
Here,
have
Kana,
something.
You give this a go, and he'll pass the line over to Kana.
Kana is not an experienced angler. It feels like there's something real heavy at the end of that you could just yank. Like you're like, okay, something
He's
weird.
just gonna yank as hard as he can.
About
poor
4
2-ounce
of
bass
these
is gonna go flying.
about 4 of these plant-like creatures that, by the trajectory, Cam, again, very experienced angler, you can see were actually suction cupped to the bottom of your boat. They are yeeted into the air by this and rain down. They are, they're called, they're tulip pups, or tulips, but that's the
Okay.
same thing as what they're called. So they're like a single tulip flower and then vines to make like a body of like a seal almost, but they seem to shift then into like a crab and then shift into a dog. Like they're a tulip like plant creature that is alive in its own thing. Yeah, and you realize almost immediately, like especially Cam, knowing your ship, not your houseboat, but the ship that you like live on. The Aetherwake, excuse me, I had to look up the name. The Aetherwake, you know there's gonna be like 12 of those on that ship that will be impossible to remove now. If yours got a few.
That's a problem.
Do you look perturbed by these things in the air, Cam?
No. He's more perturbed by the fact that they're on the boat now. But them
Oh, I
flying
mean,
through
like,
the air was
no-
like a.
Oh yeah, no, I mean like as Kana yanks them up and like you see them, you're like, oh no, these things.
I think so, yeah.
In that case, Kana will see that and go, I've got this, and like swipe his hand until like a small polearm manifests, and he'll swing it in a wide circle towards the ground, and he'll kind of like, and then spam his hand, kind of like jam it, the butt end on the deck. 10th Dance, Festival in Twilight, and a bunch of like blades of golden heart light kind of leap up out of the ground and just impale them all on stakes.
Hey, careful with the deck there. I don't want to resurface it.
Apologies.
I think there's the lightest, the barest of light scuffs from a shoe of Kana, like barely, because Kana is very good at this.
As compensation, I brought you lunch.
Hey, Tate, are they edible?
Yeah, the same as any plant. It doesn't mean that they necessarily taste good, but if you've ever had like rose petal salad, the tulip leaves of its head will be quite delicious.
Well, I guess you did. Yeah, we
The
can
rest of
have
the
this
body,
for
not
lunch.
so much. It'll be like chewing on bark.
I'll get them cleaned up. Glad
How
you're
are
done
you-
with all the serious business.
Indeed. Politics are not my kind of fight.
No, a lot of people that think they're more important than they are. Get too stuck in their ways to see what's going on.
You are wise even beyond your many years, friend.
You calling me old?
You are younger than me.
Yes, my lifespan is also shorter, not significantly, but it is shorter.
Well, numbers are a flexible thing.
Anyway, lunch, right?
Indeed.
What did you and Cam's there, he's got a chopping board on. He's got like a little
Yeah.
bench outside on the houseboat that he
You
uses,
have, You do have some more traditional fish that you've already done, so I think you can quite easily like use the tulip pups as part of like a garnish salad type deal
Mhm.
around a fish that is maybe more your and Kana's speed.
Yeah. So what did you think of the Magnolia Realms?
They were beautiful. The culture, the landscape, the people. A wondrous, incredible example of how diverse the realms can be. I can see how they birthed something as incredible as haze.
There were a lot of plants. You're not wrong.
However, the turmoil those people have faced, it will not fade with time. Even with our intervention, they will still find struggle, controversy, diplomatic disagreement. We cannot solve everything.
No, of course not. And Cam will sort of put the knife down that he's been using. Hopefully with Lemmy and a little more intervention from the Knights, they'll get things squared away and things will hopefully improve over time.
Your optimism is infectious like warm sunlight, friend.
Okay, none of this optimism and sunlight. This
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
A little
Yeah, I
storm
think
cloud
that's-
starts appearing.
Yeah, I think that's the conversation the camera leaves, and it zooms out from what I assume looked like a river becoming an ocean, where the houseboat is, through the chaos of the aether that without human eyes is only impulse and magic, and then zooming back into what forms into a road, a forested road, or a road quickly becoming forested, on a bike with a sidecar. So Ajax and Hayes, you have the two like metal boxes that are your loot strapped to the side of the, I think the sidecar. What is the conversation like on your way back home? Like truly home for both of you, honestly.
I think Hayes is solemnly reminiscing on the brief time that they spent with Maeve. As certainly she's not dead, but even with the dead, Hayes is used to sharing those parting moments.
I think you'd also then think of, like, you're parting with Jasmine, who's now a much closer sort of cousin, and with her parents, Craig and Willow, with Thorn, with all of these people that you are a much closer connection with, that you will assuredly continue to talk to and go visit. It's not really a far drive.
Absolutely.
And you didn't get that with Maeve. But you are confident. Something inside you tells you that Maeve will be fine, or at least will handle herself, as well as will probably like keep you guys updated to some extent, like whenever she can. She seemed to have a connection, probably with you more than the others in some ways. Do you say anything to Ajax?
I think Ajax can probably tell by Hayes' body language that they're like contemplating as they wheel along.
Ajax would probably, at some point, probably close to middle of the like time, or in the middle of the trip going back, would probably say, uh, Hayes, request conversation.
Of course. What do you want to talk about?
As you may note, it is you that has stated that the forces that we would be facing uh, about this time now would be more um, along the lines of what you shepherds deal with. And I had gone against such thoughts, um, incorrectly so. Uh,
So I get to say I told you so, eh?
it- as like there will be like a deep mechanical sigh as Ajax goes,
Sounds like fans.
"You
kicking
told
on
me
for a second.
so." Yeah, just you told me so. Um, and after saying that, he'll go, "How I want to pick up where we left off with what you were teaching me with regards to I have the words with being a scholar of souls."
Certainly. Well, while we're headed back to New Avalon, you might as well learn from the best.
That is why I'm asking you.
Those who taught me know even more.
Yeah. Clearly, I meant Astrid, my aunt. What do you mean?
No!
You're the best that Ajax knows.
Look, I know a guy.
I know a guy. And Ajax will just probably go acknowledged. Um, uh, and then probably a bit after that, Ajax would probably send a message to Builder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you imagine you guys send messages? Like, what's the magic feel like? Because it's possible, especially. I think that the Hamlet is quite, has quite a well built up structure for like long distance messaging. But little flavor, little.
I imagine it's similar to almost like the Star Wars hologram little things of like, let's see, for this particular situation or something like where you're closer in distance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your distance when you're in the ether wild, so the ether sea is not like measured in the same way. So it's not about, it is long distance, but in the ether or a different realm is long distance regardless. And once you're in is short distance. That's the only differentiator.
Okay. I imagine for long distance stuff, it is that kind of almost hologram where the individual persons can like see each other, but it's not as like interconnected as short distance when you're in the same realm.
So there's more delay.
A little bit more delay, and it's less like visually prominent. I imagine in short distance, it's almost like a meshing of the two areas that you're both in. Like if one's in a building and one's out in a field, they kind of blend between each other.
Yeah. If I could give some flavor, just because you're both
Absolutely.
robotic. In my head, it's not a visible hologram. Like Hayes can't see anything, but you do. It's like a AR field that you see. If it was short distance, you would basically both be in a space, but this is just like a vague symbol of them, and that it's not literally matching what you are doing. It's what you want to convey body language. Like it's a model of you that you are like remotely piloting effectively, and the same thing as him in this conversation. Builder
Absolutely.
answers, and Ajax, I hear you got into quite an adventure. What
Affirmative.
can I help you with?
Request. What we have experienced with not only the Cobalt Sands, but now the Magnolia Realms, indicate quite a sophisticated intelligence behind the attacks upon realm crystals and their protections of such. And Ajax will
An
probably
intelligence behind the Aetherlings.
affirmative. And
That's
Ajax will
troubling.
actually send over almost like the diagrams of what Ajax has seen that have been used to attack the protections and the realm crystals themselves.
Mhm.
It's just like file attached.
Yeah. He instantly processes all of it faster than you would even be able to do so.
Mhm.
The conversation you're having is happening at the speed of robots, so it's snappy as hell. He
You ever
immediately
listen to a fax machine?
And he clearly scowls harder and just that's exceptionally troubling. There are magics from every realm here, and a few that even I don't recognize. If this is an intelligence, which I think that you might be correct with this last attack, we will definitely need to prepare. And he, like, thinks for a second, makes a gesture, and says, I believe that you are friends with one of your fellow beacons for a while now, Hayes. I believe his aunt is quite an expert at spirit magic and is knowledgeable of wizardry. If you could possibly talk to her, we would love her assistance. I think that such an expert could be helpful to us. We are not as experienced, you could say, with matters of aetherlings and spirit calling.
Just for my notes' sake, talk to Hayes' aunt
Astrid.
about
Astrid.
Astrid.
Asking, yeah, bring Astrid to the reborn hamlet. Invite her to be expert on this because they want to beef up their defenses against aetherlings, particularly.
Okay. And another troublesome development, the replacement of people has been
Yes, I see.
with a shocking accuracy for who they want to replace. Figureheads are discouraged from being replaced. It appears that there is a larger intelligence within organization of these aetherlings, i.e., middle management is being replaced more often than anything else.
He nods along. That seems to be their strategy so far, but take it from an experienced chess player. Do not assume that their strategy will stay the same.
Of course not.
It is troubling. And that's especially why we'll need an expert to see if we can help detect these false people, these aetherlings that are taking over without being taken advantage of. You've done well, Ajax. We're proud of you.
Ajax will almost freeze for a moment before going acknowledged. Gratitude.
Your gratitude is well received. good luck. And we'll end the call, unless you're trying to get more of that. Hayes, you would barely notice a few sounds and really fast movements from Ajax, as that probably took a few seconds at best.
That itchy feeling in the back of your head when you get the sense someone is talking about you, but it fades
Yeah, but,
immediately.
Like when you go
He's
by a radio
real small
station
real
and the
quick.
metal fillings.
Yeah.
Anything else conversation-wise here, or are you guys just gonna sort of chat casually until you get back home?
I imagine Hayes will take this opportunity to start quizzing Ajax on some of the soul magic that they previously learned.
Ajax is sure glad he can't sweat.
Hey, can't have you
Instead,
looking
there's
like
a
a slouch in front of my
slightly higher
aunt,
pitched whirring.
okay?
Instead, it's a whirring sound that gets slightly higher as he gets more stressed.
My funny thought. Literally sweats bullets. Ping!
When Ajax gets real nervous, some of the bullets from his from the magazines that's stored inside him just ping, 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 ping.
Oh my god.
Bro's not
really need to
shitting
tighten
bricks,
that
he's
down,
shitting
that's
9
okay.
calibers.
Shitting heavy ordnance. Yeah.
So what's the difference between these two soul identities? A 12 gauge shoots out.
Call that indirect fire.
It's a good thing I'm wearing this fucking helmet.
You're moving so fast, they mostly go behind him, and you are to the
Yeah.
side. So. But yeah,
Oh, fuck.
you all make your way
Wait.
back to...
Last joke. Mobile artillery! Mobile artillery!
Oh, my cheeks hurt
Oh,
from
God,
laughing.
I'm so
Fuck
fucking
y'all.
red.
God damn.
But regardless, so you all make it back to New Avalon. Now we are officially in downtime. For our players and our audience, they get to do one specific action for downtime, and then we are also doing one non-downtime sort of activity that they're each picking. And so, what do you guys want to roll for? What are these downtime activities you're doing?
I'm a train.
Interesting. Okay. So
Choo-choo.
where is Kana training? You have access to the Aetherwake. You have access to the New Avalon gym. You could always find some other location to train in. And Egg, you said Hayes is training as well?
Yeah, I will go where Kana goes.
Yeah,
Oh, you're gonna train together. You're right.
Yeah, I think Kana has established a bit of a regimen with Hayes of oh, whenever we have free time in New Avalon, we're going to go to this place and we're going to spar for a while because we've got to work on that arm of yours. And so I think that they found themselves, honestly, probably. I think they last time were on the deck of the Aetherwake, but I think this time they found themselves in a large open field space not too far from the gym. That's kind of a designated space for outdoor training and exercising and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with that, it would actually be in the arena, but when it is neutral.
That works. Yeah, that makes
It
sense to
doesn't
me.
have setup.
Yeah.
You are in this massive circular blue and green crystal arena. From the inside, you see all of the seats that are empty, and it honestly looks kind of surreal. There are banners on either side. There is a powered down empty display. It's not really a screen, and when it's powered up, it's makes these illusionary, almost hologram images around it. But for now, you see only the two sort of pylons that create it. It is
Jimmy
large.
Tron.
Yeah, it's 4 football fields the size of this space. And you know that while it's going, it can separate that into smaller sections to have multiple games going. It can all be one big one. But right now it is just, it's been replaced with just turf, just a grass.
Mhm.
So it is just sort of open and empty. There's someone else on the other side, another small group doing a similar thing. But yeah, you have the space to train.
I think Kana is there a bit before Hayes, so we kind of see like the camera cuts in on Hayes kind of like walking into the arena, but Kana already standing there, kind of like lightly bouncing back and forth with his toes. And I think he'll do like a very kind of like, it's not mocking, but it's a very, very like showy bow for a bit, and just, hail, champion of the Magnolia Realms. It is good to see you.
Do you have to call me that?
I find it fun, and you should be proud.
You have both heard people already calling Hayes that. It's been a few days since you got back. There's people saying that. What Hayes said, like, to the crowd in the Crystal Palace. Yeah, someone recorded that. That's been going around.
Yo, I went viral.
When the crowd had their magic
Son of a-
phone up.
Son of a.
Sorry. But no, I think ultimately, yeah, I think Kana is just gonna like. Actually, mechanically, what do you intend to train here? What's your goal here?
Probably like. I was gonna up a skill.
Okay, which one?
Scholar of Souls. So I want to try to soul magic you.
All right.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, then I think Kana will turn to you and just. Your use of soul magic is prolific. It serves you well. And supplementing that, you have that potent weapon of yours, and it kind of gesture towards your, towards your big shovel, and just mechanically, it functions similar to a polearm, and he'll manifest a roughly him-sized polearm and spin it behind him for a bit. Thankfully, I'm quite proficient with those. Shall we dance?
And yeah, I think you improve your skill by trying to maintain a certain amount of like spirit manipulation while sparring with someone much better than you at sparring. I think is the training that you're effectively going through.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for Kana, I imagine this is a lot of just like trying to rehearse and practice dances, and so like it's mostly I imagine him keeping Hayes on the defensive and like constantly approaching you from different angles with different strikes and different attacks. This is probably one of the first time Hayes sees Kana actually start running through like most of his repertoire of dances. So like,
I'm curious,
yeah.
what is Kana training?
Oh, we're getting there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he most starts off with like different like it starts off with like a polearm roughly slightly smaller than him that has like a long ribbon at the end of it, and it's just like striking with lots of spinning and swirling techniques from different angles. Eventually shifts to like a much larger polearm and starts like trying much more potent techniques. And eventually he's like at a polearm that's basically like twice the size of him and is like trying to make very, very like wide and rapid techniques. The last one he finally finds himself ending on is like he ends up above you, kind of in the air, and like spinning himself forward, almost kind of like a bit of a buzzsaw, comes out of it and just 16th dance, crashing winter, and like strikes around as hard as he can. And even if Hayes blocks it, there is like this crashing wave of energy that just like spreads across the field and like flattens grass. And he'll land from that strike and like displaying the polearm and just not enough. Still not enough.
Hayes, you feel like you took damage, but you don't. This is the first time you guys have fought in this arena, and it's part of the reason some people still train here. There are these crystals on the sort of ground level all the way around the arena that flash when that attack happens. And Hayes, you feel effectively being damaged and healed in the same instant. And then a small indicator, like a little circle gauge, effectively, appears and reduces somewhat, depending on how big that attack really hit you versus just broke your thing. Because this is how the arena works, is you're effectively removed from the arena when the health that it provides you runs out. That's when you lose whatever game it is you're playing in the arena.
I think Hayes is going to kind of grumble, like, you have all these fast-paced dances. Can't we do something a little slower? As they like heft the shovel over their shoulder.
Kana will
The
lean
shovel
back
also
some and
gets back
just
together and little more health.
Kana will lean back somewhat and just, I apologize. I wasn't referring to you. I believe I'm not enough currently.
Well, consider we both have room to grow then.
Indeed. I have always wanted to find myself a master of bladed weaponry. Many of my dances use such techniques, and I have always found I have room to grow there. There is, and he kind of thinks back to his conversation with Thorn from a while back. There is a weapon I have wished to wield for many years now. And yet among all the things I'm able to call from my soul, it has evaded me for now.
Perhaps you haven't learned the right steps to the dance yet.
Or perhaps I have learned too many steps. Friend Hayes, I am going to try something. Can I have your trust?
Yes.
All right then.
They say not trustingly.
All right then.
Yes, she said suspiciously.
Stand back, please.
How far back?
As far back as you feel comfortable, honestly, it doesn't really matter. He's not going to be specific, but he will, like, roll his shoulders somewhat and kind of, like, take a more firmer stance, clench his fists in. And a question again for you, mechanically, Hayes. How good is your perception of magic? Like, how well do you perceive magical energy?
Mm,
I feel like something
I
Hayes would
think-
like to that.
decently, yeah.
So,
Definitely more towards like souls and like beings than just like magic itself, but
Yes, but I think that those are not those are a distinction without a difference here. Your soul is what creates magic and mana. Mana is shaped by the soul. Most of the spells people do, their soul also shapes with it to create it.
okay.
It's to a lesser extent, like the mana can extend past where the soul can extend, but the soul still extends past the body. So you would be able to tell basically what he's doing.
So
by
then
seeing
very
his
much
spell.
so.
yeah. So, it's not complicated to understand what Kana is doing. Kana just pushes. He just starts forcing his, like, etheric levels up as high as he can, and, like, hits that kind of the overall, like, comfortable ceiling most people have of, like, I can put this much energy out, and then, like, flexes harder and pushes more. Almost, like, slightly abusing the fact that, like, this arena will allow him to, like, heal himself if he kind of, like, causes any harm to himself. He'll just push past that wall, and every time he finds another wall, he grits deeper and just pushes past it again and again. Wind picks up in his hair, grass around him flattens. He starts kind of just, like, glowing and letting off this, like, wide aura of high magic, and all of the markings on his skin start briefly flashing a bare bit. As I'm going to train a background skill as well. I'm taking a brand new one at rank 1, and I'm calling it Overwhelming Font of High Magic. Kana has so much magic in him, and while he's not necessarily proficient at using it or harnessing it directly, he has this untapped font of magic he is able to kind of, like, dip into and pull out of himself.
Yeah, and I think, like, anyone can output a whole bunch of mana, and it's sort of like a size of their soul is what indicates that. What I almost imagine Kana does is try to hold as much mana in his soul without getting out as possible, and it sort of expands that until he can create so much more, effectively flexing his soul harder
I mean, it's
before it, like,
I was
bursts
thinking
out.
less that and more. Okay, I mean, that's like a semi-appropriate description for it. The way I was leaning this more is, like, less so much that Kana is, like, gathering magic within his soul and, like, expanding his own limit, and more just, like, effectively, if you're imagining it, like, you know, it's the way they say, like, your muscles can like push more energy out than, like, your body can take, but, like, you have, like, natural limiters on that. Kana is hitting that limit that people have internally with, like, the amount of magic they can output from their own reserves, and just ignoring that limit. And, like, by nature of him being Kana, he just has a really, really deep well of soul. The kid's got soul.
Yeah.
You know?
He's got soul.
And he's super
Yeah.
bad.
And I think here, Hayes would notice people were already kind of watching you two a little, but more in the like other people in the arena are there sort of way. More people stop. Like everyone in the arena can feel this. You are right next to him. It seems overwhelming. Even people farther behind you, the other side of the arena, seem to stumble backwards more than you do. They are watching in awe. As Kana, that indicator comes up. You do take some damage, effectively overclocking yourself. You feel even parts of your soul rip and then repair themselves, which probably unnerving. As
Doesn't perturb him in the slightest. He's
What did they say? No pain, no gain?
exactly. And eventually he'll like stop and like the wind will cease and he'll kind of like and double over and like put a hand on his knee. Still more work to do. I'll have that sword someday.
I think as Kana is like hunched over, like recovering, Hayes will extend their hand to Kana.
He'll lean up and take it with a wide smile on his face.
You trained hard.
As did you, friend. I look forward to our sessions training. You will grow into something prolific, and it will be a beautiful blessing for me to see it.
And I look forward to seeing this blade.
It was my great-grandmother's. She wielded it in the Great War. There are tales of the freedom it would bring to any, of the way it ended the great tyrant kings.
Then you have to tell me some of these stories.
It is a deal. When I pull it from my soul, I will tell you everything about the Great Sword Liberation.
I'll hold you to that.
And yeah, I think, unless there's more, I think that's an interesting place for the scene to sort of... The camera leaves that space, retreating backwards, and passes the people who work here and the people who train here, and you hear them whisper in awe, beacon, champion, heroes. They stand apart from you, Brooke. Anyways, what are Cam and Ajax rolling for?
Cam's gonna go dungeon dive, and by that I mean Cam's gonna go fishing in the Aether, for loot.
Perfect. Yeah, and I believe we talked beforehand. You wanted to fish in the Magnolia Realms, or is there somewhere else you'd like to go?
I think in terms of when Cam is looking for a challenge, as in fishing up the most unusual of things, I think he just takes his houseboat just out into the Aether, just to see what happens, you know.
Yeah. And I think in Cam's experience, the realm you leave from does flavor dramatically the places you go. And you've left from New Avalon a lot. So it does perhaps make sense to instead start from Magnolia Realms or the Cobalt Sands or wherever you think, oh, this is an interesting place I haven't left from before.
Yeah, in that case, I think he might actually choose the Cobalt Sands because it's such a unique environment.
Yeah, you travel back to the Cobalt Sands temporarily for this. Let me make sure I have my notes on that. It takes a little bit longer to travel there than some of the major places. Just it is like a distance doesn't really mean much, but it is farther.
Mm-hmm.
And you are surprised, or maybe not surprised, to see that it has rebuilt itself so quickly and has in fact built itself larger. You don't have to go into town to talk to people if you don't want, but you will see it as you enter before leaving. The small town now has more buildings. Its once sort of open pagoda around the crystal is now almost like a little fortress, I guess. It's far more armored, and you might see why. And you see there is some activity there. Looks like several New Avalon wizards and other mages sort of setting that up still, or like testing it maybe today. You're not sure.
Gotcha. He'd probably keep an eye out for, was it Zane's sister that was on lookout?
Yeah, Abla.
Abla, yeah. He'd probably keep an eye out for her, and if she's there, just give her a wave. But beyond that, I mean, he's not there for conversation. He's there for fishing.
Yeah, and I think your houseboat operates very interestingly in this space, in that you're creating still a little bit of a river around you that then vanishes in the sand as you go by. As you sort of cut through near the side of town, you do actually see Abla not in town, but riding her crescent claw mount and pet across the desert. Seems like she's also going hunting, and just sort of salute waves at you as you both pass in the desert.
Yeah. Yeah, Kim will definitely wave back at her. It's, very... what a visual.
Mm-hmm. A houseboat one direction, a feathered dinosaur rider the other.
Exactly. Both in the desert. All right. That's going to be a 11.
Yeah. Let me actually make sure I'm not messing this up. It's a dungeon delving. It's as you leave the realm, it becomes from desert to arid grasslands, and the river no longer is just around your boat, but now extending into the distance. Now what did you... I need to find...
So on an 11, I get
Uh-huh.
a loot crate, but only slots 1 and 2.
Perfect.
You can generate that
Yeah.
later.
What's a little bit of the flavor, since Cam can sort of decide where he goes? Like the realm around him a little bit when he's in the Aether? What sort of environment does he sort of look for or try to find?
I think he would actually potentially go looking near the dungeon that we were in the Cobalt Sands.
Ooh, okay.
Interesting. Because he's remembering the fact that it's connected to essentially not an ancient realm, but somewhere older, and he's looking for some of that older magic to fuel and to alter the fishing experience.
Ooh, roll me. You have a skill that's like a sense of the realms, or like
one with the realms.
Yeah, could you roll me that? I want to see, because you're gonna learn something interesting, I think, by attempting to do this.
Ooh, okay. So how do you want me to roll this? Just a d20 or?
Yeah, d20 plus that plus grit.
Okay, cool. Get some d6s then. Ooh, that's not very good. That's a 7.
7.
Uh-oh.
You don't really find the place you're looking for. You do get one thing as like a sense here, as much as it's a failure of this was the right place to start looking for that dungeon, but it has long been removed and it's floating in the Aether. And the sense you get is that it's not distance and it's not direction. It's almost like resonance of attuning yourself to the place you want to be. And it is like a very magical term, resonance. It's like resonance is what your mana type is like. And wizards have a lot of this technique about generating different spells by the resonance of what you're doing and all of these things. It's very complicated. And to you, it's very simple of like, yeah, I just have to be in that place. I have to think of the place or the thing I want and make my soul that thing.
Yeah.
And you don't quite find it, but you do find another sort of dungeon space that is like predates the shattering of realms, the chaotic collapse of the sky. It is at the foot of a mountain instead of on top of it. The weather is different, but it is clearly an old like villa of some kind. It has stucco walls painted vibrantly. It has little gardens in it, and it has its own like pond that connects to the river, like they cut out their own little tributary to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's this new and unique place that you go fishing. And the thing that I think you fish up is it's clearly a fish. No one is saying it's not a fish. But when you pick it up, it doesn't magically feel like a fish.
Ooh, okay.
And as you hold it, it seems malleable in a way that even aetherlings aren't. Like it was naturally this before being an aetherling. And you can tell you can sort of easily make it into the same chaotic magic that becomes a loot crate, effectively.
All right.
And displaying it is going to take, like, a containment field, effectively. Like, you're going to have to go ask someone, like, how do I make this stay a fish?
Cool. All right. Yeah, I imagine Cam has like some kind of magical adaptable fish tank in his houseboat where he puts fish that he wants to keep alive that are, uniquely
Yeah.
magical in some way.
Ooh, yeah, I think it's basically like a box that you dip it into this pond, and instead of just taking water, it takes a bit of the dungeon, like, resonance again
Mm-hmm.
into this space. So it's water, and you put it in, and it's just gonna live there for a bit until you either decide what you can get out of it, or decide to, break it down or mount it or what
Right.
have you. I have a question for you, because you only get 2 of the slots.
Mm-hmm.
High or low?
High.
Correct choice. That had a legendary one in it, and I didn't
Oh,
want to say. I'll send you that screenshot. You got some options. We can talk about
good,
whether
yeah.
you break these down later or not.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's sort of the space you find. Strangely empty of aetherlings, or like there's so little that it's not really worth mentioning. I think you've figured out how to just sort of not engage them and be fine.
Right. Yeah.
They are in the villa and clearly pantomiming the activities they would have done in life.
Yeah, I like to think that Cam has done this on many an occasion now, and his houseboat has some amount of not camouflage, but kind of like aetherling deterrent in a way.
I think it's the same thing we were talking about resonance of it
Exactly,
just
yeah.
becomes what is supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have a minute to look over that while we go over to Chouse. And what is Ajax doing? Foxy went off.
Ajax.
Arcanic off. Sprayed off on it. Guys, my players are way too
is
funny.
Probably.
Fucking the One Piece bubble.
That's so fucking stupid. Ajax is probably I feel like it's almost like a dorm room. But like how to describe it's
This is in,
not necessarily like a living space. He has converted as much of it into like almost like a generic workshop, as much as possible.
This is in the Reborn Hamlet.
I was thinking that they were still in New Avalon.
Oh, well, you can travel there. It's been a few days. It could even be like a whole week at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, Ajax would probably circle back around to the Reborn Hamlet before visiting with Hayes' fam, or could even be afterwards.
that'll be after the break. That's the non downtime
the
thing.
break. And
Yeah,
Ajax will.
and you're going to break down these items to get Residium, right?
Yes. Yeah. He's gonna
And I'll say-
plop the. I was gonna do it like in character.
Yeah, well, I was just to say, this is a kind of activity that you can definitely attempt to do yourself, and I won't make you roll for it. But I think there's a central place in the Hamlet if you say didn't have the skills to do this. That you could
more
go
like
to.
specialty tools.
Yeah, it's pretty common to break down arcanic materials and devices into its raw form to use for other things. And I feel like the new reborn hamlet has a pretty robust recycling program, you could say.
Yeah.
But if you think Ajax would do this alone in his own like workspace, also totally fair.
Yeah. It would actually he would probably at least open it up in his own workshop and pull out
Yeah.
this flamethrower. And
Yeah.
he'll kind of look it over and just shake his head almost, kind of, and say more of to himself of just like crude, imprecise, and kind of just like really critiquing this, I guess not only weapon but like the mindset behind using this weapon, of just like, you cannot guarantee where each drop of fuel goes.
Yeah.
It's just a carte blanche, just burn it all kind of approach. This is not how you should fight.
Yeah, and I think also the design of it implies this kind of personality as well. That it is not elegant, it is not precise, it is just extremely unerringly effective at the thing it's doing, and the thing it's doing is not discriminate, it is not safe, it is everything in that range of space needs to be gone now. It's antithetical to how you do things, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ajax would probably look around his shop and easily recognize that like he doesn't have the stuff like immediately accessible to him to break this down into the bare components. So he'll almost he'll put it back in the crate and
Doesn't fit in the crate
grab.
anymore. The crate
Oh,
is
it
like
doesn't?
disintegrating. Its magic is expended. This thing is bigger than the crate
Okay.
easily now.
Okay.
It was
I see.
basically a
So
containment
like a
field
Felix
for
in the
chaotic.
hat of Felix's bag from the old cartoons.
It's similar to the fish that Cam just fished up, actually, just in an even more like raw form, not alive. It was just raw
Okay.
energy in a box, and as soon as you pulled it out, it forms into a thing.
Okay.
And that's the box is just like scrap now.
Yeah.
But you can still carry it with you. You easily have like various cases meant for other tools that you could put it in if you don't want to have it like open carry across the.
Yeah. He'll probably put it in a case, and with that, he will also put his old plates that he had swapped out for the adamantium ones, and he will put those in there as well to also put through the recycling, and even put towards future reborns carapaces.
Yeah, you head to the recycling center. There's a few other various reborn that you know that you say hi along the way. Now I just need to make sure I'm on your notes so I write this down. Yeah, the one running it is. Ooh, I need a good name for this, and I don't have a generator open. I'm so not.
It could
have an idea
be my idea was my like Ajax's, I guess, childhood friend Theo.
Okay. What's Theo look like?
Theo is more my ideas were more stone in build, with almost living wood, kind of how the Magnolia Realms is for like the joints. And they, personality wise, they're a lot more like go with the flow, and they like doing architecture for their arts that they experiment with.
Yeah, and I think you see some of that in the like sort of recycling center, is that there's more natural stone and wood built into this structure. as Theo sees you and Ajax, friend, greetings.
Friend Theo, greetings as well.
Assumption you are here for recycling.
Affirmative.
We're excited to see you. I haven't seen you in a while now, and I've heard a lot of great adventures about you.
Reciprocation, excitement, and Ajax. Let's see. How would he? Let's see. What would he share first about stuff that Theo hasn't seen?
You can think on that a second. You hand Theo the materials, and as you're talking, it's almost automatic for him. You see that he doesn't have like the multi-arm setup that you have, but instead his limbs, being stone and wood, actually can like grow to great lengths. So he sits in one place, but he takes the plates and quickly sorts them out without looking, just as you guys are chatting. And the plates, he extends his arm and go into this like conveyor belt that goes into a back room that you know is going to smelt those down for the physical materials. And he like picks up the flamethrower, looks at it. You see his expression as well go like, like he's also not about this thing. And it's a different device. Almost looks like a giant like press that he fits it in. He has to make adjustments, and it changes in size to fit almost the right shape, and then it slowly goes down like a hydraulic press. And you
Welcome
know
back
that the
to
plates
episode
at top
3
and
of
bottom,
Hydraulic Press. Let's go.
yeah, except it doesn't squish it. The top plate is vibrating arcanically and is breaking it down into raw chaotic aether like a belt sander slowly. And it makes a sound that you guys can probably hear magically, but doesn't make an audible sound. It's like you feel it vibrating against your soul a little bit as it does this. What would be his first adventure that Ajax would share with Theo?
It would probably be two moments. The first would probably be of him and Hayes in a dungeon with probably this almost gigantic double-headed rhinoceros charging them down as it's almost like a three-dimensional scene of Hayes like behind Ajax doing their soul magic, and Ajax lining up a shot, and then I guess like another freeze frame of it skidding to a stop right in front of them.
And I think we see it from Ajax's perspective, and there's like indicators and calculations and like analyses of this creature. And we pull out, and you are projecting this image in the same way you did for the builder while you were long distance, but right here in this space, he sees those things physically between the two of you.
Yeah, like it's almost like they're in their own, I guess, in an arcane sense, or their own space. Like the room
you made an
that
illusion
they are
space
in kind
between
of
the two
fades
of you.
away. Yeah, and Theo probably sees themselves like in the exact area that it happened in. And then the second one would be afterwards of dealing with that creature of another campfire, and them talking with and communicating with Hayes, and actually I guess this was probably early on in their adventures together, so it was more of just like the initial buildings of the trust that they now have built, but if that makes sense.
No, totally. I think you find that interesting. The flamethrower has fully been sanded down to its base components, and it spits out this like purplish crystal. I think that they probably do it in like a smooth orb here, so it's like a little easier to carry than like something sharp and jagged. And he sort of again casually like picks them up and hands them to you. I think it's 2 residium for this. I don't remember the number.
I thought it was a rare, so I thought it was, yeah.
Oh, if it's rare, then yeah, 4, I guess. Well, the number's not important at the moment.
So, yeah.
Hands you your Residium. It's like, well, query, Ajax. This is a nice story, and is pleasant to know that you have made a great friend. But these are not the stories that they are telling. These are not the legends of a hero. You saved the Magnolia Realms. Is that not the story you would want to tell?
Confirmation. On the events within the Magnolia Realms, to my end, I wish to find my colors. The words escape me. He'll actually
Observation.
probably. Oh, bud.
Oh, it just in that pause, you'd be observation. That's quite a metaphor for you or I at our age. Find your colors. It
Affirmative.
evokes something I understand.
I mean, if Theo's understanding of like what he's trying to convey,
out of character, how would you convey? Like he's trying to find himself, or who he is, or what he like stands for.
So, yeah, the kind of all three, but mostly that last one.
What you stand for, yeah.
What he stands for, what he will fight for, what he acknowledges, like for like a t-shirt, if the design is worn away and you go back over it and try and like
Trace it again.
what design to put on it, if you have no idea of the previous design, is the design that you are putting on it, is that the previous design, or is it a new design altogether? And
Watch out, Ship of Theseus. Now we have T-shirt of Ajax. Yeah, I think with
and then
that
there's
explanation.
also,
Sorry, you finish. Yeah, you finish.
And then also with that, there is the even larger question of, I am a beacon.
Mhm.
I have been chosen to be a beacon. What section of me has been chosen? What I have been, what I am, or what I will be? And
Yeah.
Ajax, at least currently, has no idea where in that process they are a beacon.
Yeah, I think Ajax, you would get a sense because you're familiar with your friend, like how how Theo thinks, how they process. You get they understand the first part, but maybe not the beacon part. As they say, extrapolation. Perhaps your colors are your friends that you fight for. The story you told was protecting this person Hayes. And you know with that response for sure that Theo is thinking only of the first and not the beacon part.
Yeah. Let's see. Ajax would probably actually think on that for at least a few seconds. And let's see, how would he word it? Acknowledgement. Theory is I don't want to say considered, but like added to like list of theories of just like what.
Yeah, it'd be maybe theory under analysis. Thank you. That sort of thing.
Yeah. Gratitude for your insight.
Anything we can do to help the reborn hero. and it's the first time you've heard of that. And Ajax, you immediately look on like the interspell like equivalent of the internet, and yeah, that's floating around. That's a thing that people are saying.
I imagine visually, it's the scene where Ultron like gets connection to the internet, and he's like scouring through like newspapers, and just like, this is the first time I've heard this. What?
It visually, like outside of that, takes like a second. It's just like a
Mhm.
blink. But because both of you are reborn, he effectively sees you like process all of that, go through all of that, and look in that moment and goes, "Yep."
Yep, that's my boy.
He's also fully aware of that was going to be a reaction. Like you can tell that's what he was waiting for, was to drop that on you, just to see that. Like, yep,
Yep.
never change, Ajax.
Objection. I want to.
I want to. Yeah, I think that's an interesting place for that scene to end, unless there was something else there. And yeah, thank you all for watching. We're going to go on a quick break. Do not touch that dial. Do not change that channel. Do not eject the cartridge. We will be back in a second. See ya.
I'm gonna go get some chicken.
Oop, I did not hit the button that I meant to do. I am so not ready. Hello, Twitch, and hello, Internet. Thank you for joining us again at Knights of New Avalon. We are back from break, where our beacons have done a little downtime activities, sort of got some of their shit together, had some fun conversations. But that downtime time period is not over yet. They still have some space to do some stuff, and we've been talking about what that is. And I believe first is Cam. You heard of a specific fishing challenge in the Magnolia Realms that I believe you are you are wanting to beat the biggest fish caught.
Can remember specifically on that first tour that they had gotten upon arriving, that somebody had mentioned, the largest fish caught was here in the Magnolia Realms, along one of these bridges. And Cam, being a competitive fisherman, it's like, got a bit of free time, I'm gonna go try to catch the biggest fish.
And I think, yeah, while Jasmine Fawn, like sort of your tour guide and point person during that, mentioned that, didn't really mention where the best place would be, but I do think that you got a sense of some of the places that the like most competitive fishermen hang out while you were at that bar, sort of collecting information. And we'll say you were directed, and you know the location of a highly specialized, like extreme fishing store, effectively.
All right.
So I'd imagine that's where you would go.
Yeah, so Kim's gonna kind of walk in and go, "Hey, so I hear the biggest fish ever caught was in the Magnolia Realms, was somewhere in this area. Is that correct?"
You enter this place that most of the buildings in the Magnolia Realms are made of wood of various kinds that are technically still alive but don't look like it. This person seems to have their building on the inside, as much as outside looks very neat, feels a little more alive. It's like walking into a forest grove someone has knitted into a building. The walls clearly are still living wood, and instead of like nails in to keep all these like plethora of trinkets on the walls, instead they're little branches that still are a little green that they've hung these like photos and trophies and things. And there are fishing trophies of every kind you can imagine, not just like various things you might fish up, including like crustaceans and fish and random weird mechanical things that you have found at times, but also a lot of different gear and specialized equipment. And there is a photo of like the champion fish that you didn't notice because it wasn't like right above like where you faced. When you say that, the shopkeeper looks to that, and you look and like, yep, that's champion fish. It is almost the size of your houseboat. The man at the counter, he is a graying beast folk. None of them have a specific like animal per se, but they do have a certain vibe. You'd place his almost like river otter, like a little more rodent-y,
Okay.
and he's a little bent over from years of effort of lifting big and heavy things. He's clearly grizzled, and he like squints at you. He looks like, yep, biggest fish in all the realms that we know of. Do I know you? You seem familiar.
I
Deeper squinting.
may have won furthest cast in the West, Fisherman's Digest, twice in a row.
Eyes go wider. You're Cam. You're that fishing hero.
Hero's a strong term. I prefer fisherman.
Well, they're calling you a hero, especially after you gave the mayors what for.
They had it coming.
You won't have arguments from me. Here, and he gestures you closer to the counter he's sitting behind. It's like a clear glass counter, clear glass counter that has a bunch of different like lures and reels in particular. And you can tell several of them are kept in magical suspension, as they are meant to like attune to the person who buys them. You also know that your fishing rod could stand to, if not exceed, the limitations of any of these, as sort of your central weapon you have poured so much of your soul into. This is for
Okay.
people who want to fish the way you do, without the level of magic you have. You don't have much you could really buy here, except for like extremely specific fishing implements.
Gotcha.
Which I'll remind you, you get like now at level 5, because we just finished a quest. You have effectively 5 gold at your disposal between quests, and then you can ask for more from the knights as sort of like your spending money. So if you as the fisherman want to get something particular to help, I will definitely allow that here.
Yeah, I'll ask him like, hey, so any particular gear you'd recommend, for catching, a fish of a similar size?
Like, well, your first problem is going to be lifting it out of the water. And he thinks for a second, and he goes, turns back behind the counter. You see him rifling through, and he pulls up this belt. This belt isn't really useful for a lot. But what it is useful for is making you much heavier, so you can leverage yourself, so you don't get pulled in. It's effectively like a mobile version of what like deep sea fishermen use when they lock themselves into the boat. It has these like
Gotcha.
magical weights that you would tap, and it's like they do not move. It's like a belt of immovable rods in D&D terms.
All right.
but
That seems
I can
pretty handy.
I can let you rent it for about and he rattles off a price because your gold is sort of an abstraction, and I am not taking the time to do all the individual currencies. They
of course
call
not.
their currencies petals, I think. There's
Okay.
like iron petals, copper petals, silver petals, gold petals. But like I don't know the number. Sorry, I don't have that math in my head.
You mean you
all
haven't
right,
developed an
that's the first-
in-depth
the
economic system
economics
for
of
every
these-
single realm?
Yeah, it turns out I have in no
Subpar
way
GMing.
figured out the exchange rate
3 out of 10.
between the Ald Isles, New Avalon, and the Magnolia realms.
3 out of 10.
You know what, let me-
Subpar GMing. I demand. I'm kidding.
How about I
Anyways.
buy that off you? It might come in handy when I'm fishing out in the Aether too.
All right. He looks at you suspicious that you'd be able to afford it, but like you clearly could actually. Like I think that it'd probably be like 2 to 3 gold. If you don't have a fishing rod of sufficient strength, and you know you do, but it's like, then I could definitely rent you some of those. I think your biggest issue here is going to be getting the bait. Here, you'll have to follow me. And he's gonna stand up and move to the other side of the store, and there is a case of various kinds of bait, like a whole wall of just different kinds of bait.
Okay.
And and he'll go through more like technical details of like this fish has like this range and this is the bait best for it, and this and this, and the sizes he's telling you aren't remotely the right size. And he's like, now, it sounds like it's not what you want to catch. But the trick is you're gonna have to catch something to use as bait, because ain't nothing you can bring with you that's gonna entice a fish that size. You need something that's a little bit still alive and moving. It can tell.
You know, I might have just the thing.
If you want, you can dramatically have that thing with you, even if it's the thing I think it is.
Cam is already thinking about that fish that he just caught.
Yeah, you can have that with you if you want that to be the thing.
Yeah, so
My
Cam
thought
will
was
pull
just
out this.
Kana on like a little harness, like the kids are on in the airports.
It's like he's got a briefcase.
Yeah.
It's not a briefcase. It's just like an aquarium. He pulls out the briefcase and he's like, "It's it's the other fish. It's the suitcase fish."
Yeah, he's kept the magically unstable fish in the suitcase.
Wait,
fish.
that's
I love
so
it. Yes.
fucking funny. Oh my god.
You open a case the shape of a fish to reveal another fish.
Fishception.
I think at this point, because it's not like a thing that you would spend money on like mechanically for the game, you have made the fish case. You've like paid someone to make it like the magical stabilizer you need. And so yeah, it's basically in suspension, this mounted fish made of raw arcanic energy. He sort of gives it a look as, well, that's fascinating. And he's poking it and looking at it, and you can tell he has a magic that seems even more specifically about fish than your own. Like if he were trained as a mage, he would be a fish mage somehow, as that he just seems to observe and know everything about this thing immediately. Magic can get really specific, especially if you're not like doing combat and exploration. If you have a job, your magic can be just that. And
I caught it out in a dungeon, the Cobalt Sands, if you ever heard of it.
You know, I have, because I've heard about you. And he's adjusting and looking, and he's analyzing it. He's kind of muttering about that every once in a while, fascinating. He's like, yeah, I've heard you beacons are doing some pretty heroic things recently. And I know I appreciate it. I don't think my shop would be here if you hadn't stepped in.
Oh, well, the whole Magnolia Realms was a fool's errand that somehow enough people bought into. But you know, get to see quite a few different fishing spots when you get to travel all around.
That's the truth. He has the weight belt, and he has the bait that he's recommended to get the. Or no, he doesn't have the bait because you have presented him better bait. He goes, "Yep, this should work." You think you can wrangle this on your fishing line? I guess you did in the first place, but you must have something special in that your fishing line. I don't know what it is.
I am a little worried about the fishing line. And he's going to a fishing shop. Of course, he's got his fishing rod with him.
Yeah.
He'll show the guy that, this is a rod I've been using. I've been using it for quite some time. The rod itself is fine. The hook is fine. I am a little worried about the line. It's not. Obviously, I reinforce it with my magic whenever I can, but it's a pretty standard line.
And I got just the thing. He snaps his fingers. And then, he busies himself in another corner of the shop and comes back. It's like, this line will take more of your magic. At least it should, more than a standard line. It's got intermittently beads of, residium in it. You can see, it's got just these tiny beads of residium all the way down, so it will sort of take on the strength of your magic better than the regular line.
It's residuum, but I
Sounds
love
like
that he
just
said
the
it wrong.
thing.
That feels in character.
Yeah. Iridium, whatever he said. He's going to say something different every time. Don't worry about it.
Sounds like just the thing I need.
Resolvium.
That there residium.
How about that? Yeah. Then how about this? You want to buy the weight belt? You can buy the weight belt. The rest of it, I think that you're well known enough and honorable enough that I can say you get the fish. I get the picture and the bragging rights. The shop that helped someone catch the next biggest fish is you could say is real big marketing.
Deal.
Great. Bring me back the line and a good picture of that fish, and then he tosses you a small camera crystal for the picture. You know, you can just have it set and it'll like stay in a spot and like a timer the way like any camera can. It basically has a magic for equivalent of a tripod and timer feature.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's like, well, good luck, fishing hero.
Thanks. Hopefully, I'll bring you good news in however long it takes.
I think it's an interesting time. We'll come back to you fishing for this, but I'd like to get half of one of the other major scenes going on. Hayes and Ajax, you're having dinner with Hayes' family. Which of you wants to set the scene for that? What's family dinner with a guest over like in the Yoon family?
It's definitely an occasion, I think, especially because Hayes' family has heard Hayes talk about Ajax before.
I imagine you've met him before too in more casual dinner settings or casual just talking settings.
Perhaps, yeah, I think so.
Some of them.
Yeah, but also because of all the chatter around the adventures of the beacons as of late, there's definitely excitement to talk to the beacons about what's been going on in the beaconing. So I imagine there's a big spread of food, like lots of different dishes, all spread out like family style.
Yeah. And I imagine your family and your have pestered you for details, and that perhaps Hayes has pushed that up by being like, no, we'll have Ajax over for dinner, and you can ask all the questions, and we can tell you more with him there. It'll be, it's easier to just do this all at once. And I don't. If Hayes is doing that though, is Hayes doing that just to avoid talking, or is Hayes genuinely gonna like give him the full lowdown?
Probably some of both. Like trying to
Hoping
avoid
Ajax
it, but
can carry
knowing
more of that.
knowing the inevitable. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a big spread. Your father and your paternal grandfather and your mother have like all three of them been cooking and setting and plating and making everything perfect.
Yeah.
Your aunt has been busy with other things, but is here for dinner, and your cousin has been more like pestering you for more details that you know for sure that they'll give to the rest of the family. So you're like, no, we're still waiting. That's been sort of the time set here. How is Ajax getting ready for this family dinner?
That's a good question. I don't know if Ajax would really know, at least without asking, if they need to dress up or anything. Probably not, would be my thought.
Ajax may ask. I mean,
yeah, Ajax would definitely ask. They will still wear the bracelet that Hayes got them. As like it's a nice occasion. And let's see. I find it funny if they wore like a little bow tie, like a little crystalline bow tie. But other than that, I don't really think that they would like really dress up more.
Yeah. I guess my more question
I think that
Ajax...
makes sense because
Yeah.
I imagine that even the bow tie, Hayes' grandfather will compliment and say that it's too nice for what this dinner is. Certainly.
Yeah, I think that's where like the scene really enters. Is Ajax, you arrive, knock on the door. I do think it is Alder who answers the grandfather and does say that's you're looking quite spiffy. That's a great bow tie. Way too nice for this dinner. Come on in.
As after they say that, Ajax will shrink it a little bit so it's even smaller.
Hayes will pat Ajax on the back. He didn't mean it as a bad thing. He's just humility and all that, you know?
Acknowledgement.
You were quickly introduced to everyone in the household. I think you've probably met one or two of them, but Amber, the cousin, Astrid, the aunt that you need to talk to, Iris, Hayes' mother, Beck, Hayes' father, and Alder, the paternal grandfather that you've met. There's also several plant creatures now. I think there is Ovid, which is Hayes' sort of plant pet that you have met. But Amber also has a basically like twin but different colored flowers named Pistol that she's been growing. And and there are also several of basically what look like domesticated tulip pups that are like living in the window seal outside of it. These are again effectively like a pest unless you treat them like a pet. Like that's the delineating line here, in that they are helpful. They like keep various like birds and things out of the plants that you don't want them eating, and they're doing their job defending the window seal gardens, each of them, but they are still treated somewhat like pets. You can see that they're being like scritches behind the bulbs as you pass by. They are looking for attention at all times when anyone gets near one of their flower beds.
Yeah.
You are
I
introduced to all of them
imagine,
in turn.
like, Hayes totally got out of Amber's questioning by just giving updates about how Ovid's training has been going,
Oh,
and
for
not
sure.
giving
Yeah.
any information about what actually happened.
But yeah, you are. Sorry. Anything to say to all these introductions?
Ajax would probably. It would either be that he like wouldn't introduce himself, or he would introduce himself in the same way each and every time. Of just like, greetings. I am Ajax. Ajax the Trailblazer.
I like the idea that Ajax is saying the Trailblazer more because he realizes people are calling him the Reborn Hero, and you're like, no, that's not. Don't like that. I have to have my own title.
Nor.
Yeah.
Each of them seems genuinely happy to meet you. I think the grandfathers, we've heard so much about you, and I haven't had a chance to even meet you yet. Hayes has been keeping you away from us for some reason. Looks at granddaughter playfully, suspiciously.
It's not like that! Ajax is a very busy person.
Mm-hmm. It's Astrid.
Blaming it on you! Fuck you!
Throw
I
him
feel
under the
like
bus.
Ajax would like start to say something. Hayes would kick his foot and be like, "Shut up, go with it."
Astrid's the last to be introduced, and when she shakes your hand, the aunt is, I've heard a lot of things about your builder. I believe he's actually wanted to get in contact with me recently. Is that true?
Affirmative.
We'll have to talk about details over dinner then. It's wonderful to meet you.
Yeah, Astrid, I was also wondering if you could maybe teach Ajax a little bit more about soul magic at some point? Maybe while you guys journey to the Reborn Hamlet or something.
She smiles and to Ajax. You don't understand what my nephew has done. You're being asked if you want me to info dump about my special interest that I study for my job. Yeah, I can definitely do that. That seems like a thing that I could do for literally hours, as is what I do as a professor. That's the thing I do. But please, let's sit down first, and you're sort of all shepherded to the table.
As Astrid is like talking about this, Ajax is like slightly nodding. He's just like, "This is exactly what I'm looking for."
I told you I know a guy!
You think you're autistic?
Exactly.
I'm even more autistic.
If you've ever met a professor and you ask them, "Hey, can you like talk to me about the thing that you're a professor of?" you will get a yes, and it will be at length. It's always delightful.
Mhm.
Anyways, you are what's the spread like? What's the food like?
Mm. I imagine there's a lot of mixture of different, like, greens and more, like, savory meats. And, like, different sweet and, like, citrusy, like, fruits. Probably, like, salad that has, like, kind of, like, rich, like, soy sauce, like, flavors. And, like, yeah, bright citruses feels, like, essential.
Yeah, then the way I'm imagining is, as you sat down, this is something Hayes is very familiar with, but Ajax, you're presented with a plate that is almost like several bowls in one plate, and there's a lot of different salads of various fruit, veggie, and meat balances, and then several sauces, with the idea of, like, these sauces, there's ones that they're sort of meant to be on, but it's also seen as pretty traditional to say, well, I'm going to try a little bit of the like more citrusy fruit salad sauce on this meat and see how well this goes. That sort of like variation is pretty common here, and I think you do see Amber probably mixes quite a few of the salads together in each of these like 3 sections of this plate bowl, and is like mixing several sauces. Is like it's that kind of person that like puts all of the soda in the machine down the line in the can. Just like, let's do all of it at once. Is sort of the vibe.
Ajax is would when they get served this this bowl in bowls, they'll look at it, they'll look up, you know, say thank you, and then like look back down at it, then lean over to Hayes and just go, how am I supposed to eat this?
Pats on shoulder. And Hayes will start scooping things into Ajax's bowl. Do you want some of this?
Like they're loading stuff onto
This is being a
Ajax's
good
bowl?
host. Yes.
Yeah. Making
That
you
doesn't solve the
recommendations.
issue.
Yeah. What do you mean?
He has rollers.
Oh,
Like,
forgot about that part.
Like,
fuck. I forgot about that part. It'll be fine.
we'll figure it out.
We'll swap plates later.
No, I think Iris, as like lead hostess here, does notice and just is sat, I want to say, pretty close to Ajax and Hayes. Just sort of leans over. It's like, it's more to be polite. If it's not something that you do eat, you do not have to attempt it. And tries to, like, very subtly to Ajax in particular, like, don't worry, you don't have to. You're here to socialize. You don't have to eat if that's not possible.
Ajax, so like, I don't know, like a mechanical equivalent to go, oh, but just like click.
It's the fucking Windows
makes
booting
sense.
sound. do, do, do.
It sounds like almost like a Nintendo kind of ping.
Oh, fuck.
Clippy pops up, just like, hey, you don't really have to like eat. I see
I
what you're
can't
trying
believe
to
I
do.
forgot about the eating thing, bro. I'm like so focused on trying to like not be hassled by my family that I forgot that you don't consume.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and they will make space for if Ajax wants to eat food that a reborn person eats. Like we'll clear space for that, unless he's like, oh, I ate before I got here because I knew.
He would definitely at least try the salads. I imagine it
Little
is
taste.
incredibly messy, even for like as like messy as like barbecue is. It's just like he like goes to like put like the salad like into the rollers, and it just sprays, like half of it sprays out and the other half like goes down, and it's just like, that doesn't seem very polite.
What are you doing?
Fucking lawnmower mouth.
He's trying.
your hosts politely do not make that a whole deal. You are
I
given
mean,
an
look,
extra
They,
table.
they grew up with me and fucking Amber. Amber, who puts every salad dressing possible on all the salads.
And mixes all the salads
They can
together.
deal.
Yeah,
They can deal. That shit's devious.
100%.
They
You're
will-
politely given another tablecloth.
yeah, they will try and clean up the mess without making a big deal of it,
Mhm.
and put their face mask back down. Just be like, noted. And they'll probably note on like some of the ingredients that they
Yeah.
had put in on the salad. It was just like, those were some solid choices.
Yeah, and you are part of the original rush of any dinner where it's like, oh, please pass this. Everyone's plating themselves. Oh, you should have some of that. Move it around. And there's some light conversation. They ask you, Ajax, like, oh, so how long have you and Hayes been working together? Like, they have an answer from Hayes, but they want to know from you. They ask stuff of like, what do you do in your free time? Like, how did you sort of join the Beacon program? When did you know you're a Beacon? Stuff that feels more light in conversation and not the thing they really want to ask. Was there anything else in this space before we maybe move on?
Let's see. Ajax would probably just answer honestly to each of them.
Very precise answers.
Yeah. I feel like for like the amount of time that him and Hayes had been working together,
I know
they
there's
would
an answer to that question I
probably-
find most interesting, which is:
Yeah.
is it the same amount of time Hayes has said? Is it more, or is it
long?
less?
Yeah. Ajax would probably give, I guess, an initial answer of like since the first thing or the first adventure they had gone on, and then after like okay, and then the second answer that he would feel more like solidifies it would be at the start of the third adventure that they had like fully gone on together, of just like, are we just traveling together, or are we actually like working together and actually, becoming more friends?
Which one of those was when Hayes sees as when they really started working together? First adventure or third?
Probably third.
Okay. Interesting. Then yeah, there's a lot of this polite conversation, and then once people are plated and things settle down, Hayes' father says, "So, you two are heroes, and if you don't mind, just to give you guys a minute to think about that, it'd be fun to then swap back to either the scene with Cam fishing or Foxy, since we've kind of kept yours more in the air. If you had a thought on, is there like half of your scene that you think would be interesting to do here?"
I mean, like, I think I know what kind of I think I know what kind of scene is going to be. But I'm cool with holding it for a bit if you think if Cam you wanna
Sure.
check back on your fishing trip.
I don't mind.
Then, Cam, we are back at the Magnolia Realms. You are given a few locations that you can go to that are likely to have large fish. They tend to be more towards the edge of the realms. Do you remember there's like sort of a central spot and 5 rivers going out from that? The
Right.
farther away from the center it is, the more likely you run into something that is truly massive.
Okay.
So what I would love is actually probably the same skill that we did previously of like one with the realms, or if there's a
Yeah.
different one you think is more interesting for locate best fishing spot.
I think one with the realms would work there.
Yeah.
All right, so I will roll that. How is a my grit 2? That's an 18.
18 is pretty good. You identify some of the spots. It's like, well, those are gonna be not the best. And effectively, you find 2 that are not too distant from each other that you know you could start fishing at one, and then if you don't get anything, then you could go to the other. And you move your fishing boat to this space that is basically the source of this winding river that goes up into the mountains. It becomes less straight and less, I don't know, civilized the farther you get from the center, and now it is truly in what seems like the wilds. You have effectively gone off the edge of what the realm is into the Aether Wilds and found the real etheric source of this place.
Okay.
It is picturesque. Beautiful clouds above, the rolling hills around, and you sit down. So what I'm curious about is what is it like for Cam to try and find the biggest fish in this river?
So I think unlike the previous fishing that Cam has done, where he's been fishing in the Aether, where a lot of it is about trying to impose
Mhm.
Cam's will on sort of whatever's around him. In this case,
Yeah.
he's instead focusing on his hook and his bait to try to find like the perfect balance of enticing for large fish and specifically that species that he knows is going to be there, as opposed to, you know,
Mhm.
fishing for something unusual, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think the equipment that you have chosen is giving you this extra benefit you hadn't considered, that the sort of unstable etheric fish at the end you are connecting with, that is your bait,
Mm-hmm.
you feel it the way you would feel yourself, like your own body and soul. You know what its purpose was. It was a magical creature that could be anywhere or anything that it needed to escape and survive. And in that way, it does have almost like a reverse sense of attracting predators, since it was so good at avoiding them.
Okay.
So I think that's why you got this 18. You sense there is something here that is massive. This fish doesn't have the same like sense of size that you do,
Mhm.
but it is, you know, this is going to be the biggest fish in this spot. It kind of can sense where it is and what it's doing.
All right.
I do think this needs to be like a complex check, or what it's called, where there's 3 of them involved.
Sure. Yeah.
I just do not quite remember.
Uh,
Because there's only one PC adversity challenges. It's still a number of PCs. We'll make this success on 3 and count the first one as a success.
okay.
The second one's going to be how do you get this thing on the hook? What are you doing? What's the
Okay.
vibe?
So, ooh, how do I get it on the hook? I mean, Cam, he knows that there's an amount of time now between missions, so
Mhm.
he's in it for the long haul. He's
Mhm.
he's okay with just waiting, letting this be like a multi-day process of, you know, maybe I don't catch it today, that's fine. Maybe I don't catch it tomorrow, that's also fine. I will catch it eventually.
Yeah. Then I think what we see is a montage almost of like hours passing into days, and you get a sense for the bait you're using, and you basically can let it just keep swimming around because it's still alive and hiding naturally. And you test a few different like types of bait this fish can appear to be. You like wrestle it into a, oh, is this going to go for something that's more like a sporty fast trout? Does it like want to chase after something? And that doesn't seem to work. You're like, oh, so does it like stalk something that is like really like big and like nutritious, and so you like make it into something that's like a flounder that goes at the bottom of the river and is like just flat but very large, and that doesn't seem to work. And so you're trying a few different things. I would love for you to roll what you think is the skill involved with testing out how much fish how much
Ooh.
fish want you.
I don't know that I have a.
Women fear me.
The
Fish want me.
Squidbillies hat. Yeah.
I don't know that I have a good one for this. Maybe.
For this cast in the West by Fisherman's Digest, I believe, is one of them, and I think that is
Yeah,
real good.
we'll go with that one then.
Remember, 2 advantages.
That is going to be a 19. Right? Yeah.
19. It's real good. You eventually figure out that this thing wants. I'm trying to think of if you have a thought on what big fish would want. I'm trying to remember vaguely the fishing I remember. Uh,
I
it's
don't
like you
remember
have to find a
either.
specific color. Like there's a specific fish it's looking for, and it's over like the process of a few days. It's something that's not like running. It's not movement. It is like bright flashes of color of a specific color and pattern, and you're starting to narrow in on it. And then finally, probably a few days in, like 3 or so, you've had other fish try and nibble at your bait, and you've had to basically get the bait to run away and hide. And you feel this leviathan of a fish, the thing you've been seeing, like sensing around the edges, bite down and hard. Your hook sinks in supernaturally into it, and you have a solid grasp on it. How is Cam gonna wrestle this thing in, as it feels so heavy that it feels massive at the end of your line?
Yeah, so Cam he's hooked into his boat, and he's gonna sort of magically like raise the anchor and just essentially tire the fish out over by just being attached to it and letting the boat kind of slow it down over
Yeah, yeah,
again
yeah.
a day or two, depending on how much energy this fish has.
Yeah. Whew. What? Do you want your one last roll to be here, or are you waiting to like it's at the right moment? But I think the roll needs to happen. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'll do it now, sure. So yeah, I'm gonna use houseboat enthusiast because he's kind
Interesting.
of relying mostly on the boat
Yeah, yeah.
for weight and momentum. I'm also going to invoke my title, the Solitary Angler, as there's probably other people here at this fishing spot, and they just see, over the course of a day or so, this houseboat go like by, kind of doing random circles. They're kind of wondering, what's he doing? But they see the line, they kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
The
go
first
ahead.
several days where you're just testing, people didn't really notice. Like, there's some people came up to fish here for a bit and left. It is over 2 days as you are wrestling with this thing that people who see notice. It's like, is he still? Is that the same fish? And yeah, roll me that beautiful bean footage.
That's gonna be another 19.
Yeah, that's the third success. I think with a 19, you could tell that this could go on for like a week. Someone who doesn't have as much mana to throw around as you would need to wait a whole week. Within 3 days, you can tell I am now stronger than this fish. It has worn itself out more than me. And if I wait too much longer, other things in this pond might start like harassing this fish. It's a delicate line when you're in a larger like magical ecosystem between if you weaken the
Right.
fish too much, it can start getting picked apart by whatever else is in this place. Now is the time. With Cam's magic being so about the realm he is in and the space he is in, what does it feel like to conquer that space? Not just live in it, but become the apex predator of it in this moment?
Ooh, I think there's a sense of his aura and presence spreading through the water,
Mm-hmm.
and any aquatic life form that feels that presence knows anything from Cam down this line to that fish is Cam's. And any intentions against that are considered an attack and will be punished accordingly.
Yeah. Or almost, they will not work. Like, it is so this place, and you being the one who has this fish on the line is so right to this place, most of these creatures don't even consider contesting that. It's like an impossibility to their simple fishy minds. You find your moment, and I almost imagine either the houseboat has to sort of anchor itself near the coast line of this lake, or you almost have to jump out before activating this like stay in place belt. And you haul. Just the way that some fishing in movies happens, of just this dramatic big pull, and in the moment where it finally gives way and the surface tension breaks, it is launched in the air over you, comically larger than you and your boat. It is at least twice the size, and you have flipped it head over ass, and it lands with a resounding thud. Over the last several days, you have gotten a bit of an audience. Some people have camped out to see, like, is he gonna get it? There is applause. I don't know if Cam was even aware of them as much while he was so focused on this.
I imagine not, actually. I think he's been kind of
Yeah.
lost in the battle this
Mhm.
whole time.
Lost in the sauce, man.
Exactly.
You just need to find a fish version of that. I'm gonna work on that in the background.
Lost in the
Chats
fish
and
sauce.
memes,
Ikim will kind of startled. He'll look over and kind of wave into a small bow.
Yeah, several fishermen are now approaching, like, hey, do you need help, like, taking a picture of this? This is amazing. Like, can we be behind the fish to hold it up? It's like it's lolled on its side and does not get up. It looks kind of like if someone saw a marlin, like, like a sporty fishing marlin, but didn't know the size it was supposed to be and heard of a whale and said, yeah, that's about the right size. Like, it is ridiculous. It's like, it's clearly not meant to be this big and yet is. Like, this lake is huge. It's not that huge. This thing has to have been messing with just, like, dimensional space. This lake might be bigger on the inside or something.
Yeah, y'all get in here. Let's take a picture, all of us.
Yeah. They refuse to be visible, but they are going to help you prop it up. Like, no, this is yours, man. And so there are two fishermen behind you that have taken, like, fishing poles to help prop this up for you to be in front. And another one is offered to, like, adjust the photo crystal so that it can be the clearest shot instead of having to, like, set it and run back.
The picture is Cam in front of this fish, and there's like 4 pairs of legs under the fish of the people holding it up.
Yeah. And, like, it's not far because they can barely prop it up a little. But it's like, yeah, you just, like, the bare shadow of all these other feet behind it. The person taking the picture, like, tries to take the picture with the crystal, where they kind of hold it like this, and they have to take a few steps back. They have to take a few steps back. It's like, okay, now it's all in frame, and you get your picture. A bunch of other people now, after the official one, take pictures with you in front of the fish. It's now, like, not as clearly visible, and it's not, like, set up as officially. There's several people are measuring it and arguing about exactly how many feet this thing is. It's like a small festival suddenly. You're getting handshakes and shoulder slaps, and that was amazing. That was incredible. I'm surprised you got it that early. Like, all people commenting on all the different, like, choices you clearly made to them. These several expert fishermen here.
Yeah, Cam will turn to the crowd and go, all right, 10 or 15 more minutes max, and then I'm releasing the fish back into the water.
There's a mixed reaction. You see the experienced fishermen, like, yep. Where several of the people who are just there camping are like, you're not gonna keep it? Someone else like, what do you mean keep it? Where is he gonna keep that? Arguments in the crowd. Like, it's not gonna fit on his boat.
Have to strap it to the side of the houseboat as it, like, lists at 45 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's like, you hear someone else, hell, he could turn that into his new boat.
You see a sparkle in Cam's eye. He's thinking about it.
He considers, but then you look at your houseboat and all, like, the memories and the cool stuff.
Yeah,
It's free real estate.
happy with my current boat.
Besides, as an expert fisherman knows, especially with this kind of thing, you let him back in there, he'll grow.
Exactly, yeah.
Or feed
grow
the
to be
next thing
caught
that's
again.
big and grow, and you might,
Yeah.
you might break your record. a rare resource like this big of a fish, you can't just
Mhm.
eat that. It's too valuable. And you eventually let it back into the lake, and you feel the world around you respect that. Like, the lake felt lesser for not having this Goliath of a fish in it, and it is restored. The fish is not smart enough to be thankful, really. Like, it doesn't really know what's going on, but it has relief that you feel, and it has a magical power of its own right that dwarfs many of the fishermen here, and that returning to the world feels right. Uh, what will you do with your prize picture and record? I want to know.
I think he'd go back to that fisherman and go, and just like slap the picture down on the counter.
Petals be
28
praised.
stab wounds.
You did it.
I sure did.
Tell me you did it.
It was quite the fight.
I will admit, I already saw some of the videos people took of you doing that. I was still didn't quite believe it till you slapped the picture down in front of me, but damn.
Yeah, I'm sure that picture is gonna be in the next Fisherman's Digest.
Well, it's going in the Hall of Records if there's one of them.
Yeah, I'm sure
Fisherman's
there's
Hall
one.
of Records, that's got to be a thing.
I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
Yeah. One last request then, sir, if you don't mind.
Shoot.
Exactly that. And he's standing next to you. He points towards a wall. You look, and there's a recording crystal that takes a picture. No prep. You're not like warned. He has like the most candid picture of you looking like what? And he's sitting there like, he's like, and you now realize as you look around several of the photos here, he's doing the same thing in different environments where he does not warn people before he takes a picture with them. It seems. He's like, I think that came out pretty good.
Fair enough. You supplied the line. Deserve a picture at least.
And here, earnestly, thank you. It's gonna be a hell of a story.
Want me to sign it for you?
Oh, please. It materializes basically a metal print of the picture. I think most of the photos are much sturdier. They're not really on paper, like because it's not a printer. It materializes this, and he holds it out, and there's a pen that you can use that sort of etches into it.
Yeah, Cam signs it, and you'll notice that it's just his first name, just Cam, but you'll notice
Yeah.
that the M is sideways to almost look like the tail of a fish, and as a whole, the whole name looks like that classic traditional fish that kids draw. And he has that little dot in the eye as the final marking goes. There you go.
I will treasure it always. Yeah, you can quickly register the size of this fish officially. Sorry, my brain. Yeah, you know for certain, and you see in the next week or so, several different not just fishing magazines are like, hey, this is a thing that the fishing hero has done. It's Cam Beacon, the fishing hero, and then your actual game title, the Solitary Angler, has broken the inter-realm record for largest fish caught. And I think it's the Fishing Digest one says, and we wait on bated breath for his next great achievement.
Bated breath, nigga, really?
Bated breath.
You expect people who write for a fishing magazine not to make fishing puns?
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
As someone who has
You
read,
are welcome to have that opinion
one
of this
those
writer,
magazines,
but
they absolutely lean into the fish puns.
100%. Yeah, that is what you have been doing during this downtime. Speaking of which, Hayes and Ajax, you were just directly asked, so you guys are heroes now.
Do you have to make it sound so serious?
It's like, to remind you, you're sitting around the table with all of Hayes' family. You've just been treated to a multitude of salads and dressings that Ajax can't really eat. And yeah, after
Sorry,
Beck says
Ajax.
that, it seems like you don't have to be so serious. I think it is Iris is like, well, you are beacons, and you did save at least 2 realms at this point from utter destruction, as far as we can tell. We would tell more if Hayes would tell us more. So you're heroes now.
Ajax will probably chuckle almost at the if only Hayes would tell us more. Um, let's see, would Ajax put them on blast or not? They absolutely would put them on blast of just like, yeah, no, they've been leaving out a lot of the details of the stories that they've told, at least recently. And just like, yeah, no, that creature was like way closer to actually mauling the both of us than they let on.
You're not getting invited to family dinners anymore.
You just lost your cookout invite, bro. That's crazy.
Albert
I mean,
says,
I say that like my family members will just go behind my back and invite
Exactly.
Ajax anyways.
Exactly.
Even behind your back, immediately your
Yeah.
grandfather, nonsense, invited to every family dinner. Tell us about the Magnolia Realms. How were our cousins? Why did it almost collapse? You know, the little details like that.
It was good. Seeing Jasmine again. I really feel like I got to reconnect, you know?
Oh, that's nice. How's the family doing? They're like asking for like regular family details suddenly. Like,
I think they're doing well. Jasmine is supposed to marry soon.
it's like, oh, I'm sure they'll lengthen that process out as long as possible. It's good political acumen. That's what your mother says. It's useful to have a potential wedding. Is it still with that Zhao boy? What's his name
Thorn?
and title now? Yes, Thorn.
Affirmative.
We heard you guys got into a bit of a tussle, according to the news.
Affirmative. Thornzau had been instructed to deny entry to everyone, beacons included, and unfortunately, we required entry.
Yeah, he said no, we said bet.
Pretty much.
And they will listen to all the details of that. If like now is where you just recount everything that happens, we don't have to like go over all of it. But they are most interested in that mission. Clearly, they ask you about the food, about the party, about like the various mayors and your impressions of them. I think is more for our purposes. What is the thing that happened that is most important to each of you? Like, what would stand out in Hayes and Ajax's mind about that quest?
I think for Hayes, it definitely is like beyond the obvious of like, okay, we stabilized the realm politically, is that feeling of like, yeah, this is a place that I can come visit anytime I want now. I don't need to have a reason to come with my family.
And then the second question, I guess, is how or does Hayes voice that?
I think Hayes will mention that they plan to visit Jasmine again soon.
I think your mother in particular that sounds wonderful. We should definitely go visit more. It's been, and sort of size of it, it's been too long.
Indeed.
What's Ajax saying?
They're like, I guess, like most like prolific part, at least to them, would be walking into the room where after the guards of just who is here and the almost inspiration that just their mere presence and like the certainty of what they were feeling, just like what can we do, like the whole Magnolia realms are going to fall apart and we can't do anything. And then all of a sudden the beacons showing up, the only people that they know could possibly do what needs to be done and actually have the strength to do it, and being that like almost pillar of like hope and strength, and just the certainty and being the certainty that these people were needing.
Yeah, and as you sort of articulate that, I think it is Astrid, his aunt, that nods, and that makes a lot of sense to me. I think, Hayes, you'd be familiar, but Ajax, I'm not sure if you would. The first beacon of the Magnolia Realms was the woman who entered the newly chaotic Aether and found the realm crystal and brought it back and stitched these many places together. They were 5 separate mages that upheld 5 separate bubbles in effectively the same city. It was one place when this happened, and they only could carry so much reality, and they had to be conscious for days. New Avalon has a similar story, but this was 5 bubbles held together by a single crystal, a single quest. Most of the people of the Magnolia Realms, that's how they see beacons, is someone who arrives to end the crisis. They're not the only heroes, but they are the last ones. Does that make sense?
It does.
Understanding.
You were there, that person for them. I'm so proud of Hayes for joining the Beacons and becoming that for people. Even if she
Hayes
doesn't
looks
tell
at
us
their
much about how it
plate.
happened. They'll maybe have other conversations through the night, but I think the most critical one here is that eventually, Astrid to you, Ajax, is so. Your maker is requesting, or builders, your builder is requesting my help.
Affirmative. The he'll probably say like really similar stuff to them in the way that they told Builder. The threat of Aetherlings has escalated in a unforeseeable way. There appears to be more of a intelligence behind not only their construction but their actions, and they will once again show the like the circle and that stuff. Builder has
You see,
noted
Astrid...
multiple origins. Oh, yeah, Builder has noted multiple origins for inspiration of these sigils. It appears to pull from even lands that Builder is unknowing of.
Astrid nods. You see that despite her specialty being spirit magic, does a fair amount of wizardry and creates a sigil in the air to sort of contain what you and copy what you have. And as she moves various sigils in this space that she's made, it sort of picks apart the diagram that you've built to sort of isolate certain things, and it's fascinating. And I don't know that it was. You say unforeseen, and I'm not so sure. She contains the diagram. I have been doing a lot of studying of the Aetherlings and of spirits. I didn't see this coming, but some of the archwizards and the deans of the college have been particularly interested in my specialty as of late. I still have leave to come and help you with your project, but I have no doubt that the work I do for your realm will still be of great interest to the wizards. And she clearly looks conflicted, and you can feel from her being unsure. This is not like a thing she knows, but to her and your and everyone in this room's magical senses, clearly she is not confident in this, as she says. I would never say it is wise to trust the archwizards at their word. But it wouldn't surprise me if they've foreseen this to some extent and not said anything. It's just my feeling, it's just a hunch. But these things don't look that strange to me. These events not that unforeseeable. But enough of conspiracies and talks of politics. You should still tell us more. You say Hayes at the party was quite adept at politics, really? And they continue on, basically asking more details specifically about how well Hayes did or not, or
God damn it.
yeah.
I would find it funny, like when Ajax is explaining things, or even trying to say something that someone else has said, they will actually play little recordings of what that person said specifically, because at least in my mind, it would make sense to do that, as it is more direct retelling and less of a game of telephone.
Yeah. And yeah, you entertain them with both stories of the mission, the quest at the Magnolia Realms, as well as previous ones, throwing stuff from Cobalt Sands. They start asking about your other companions, about, Cam and his grumpy old madness, and Kana and his energy. Were there other conversations that you guys really wanted to have at this dinner? I'll say you've successfully gotten your mission of bringing Astrid. She's going to be there. We can play with that a bit later, but that you've gotten everything you need to get done. This is just for flavor.
Let's see. I can't really think of anything. I don't know if you can think of anything, Meg.
Nothing important.
All right. Well, you'll have plenty of time to talk to your family in other downtimes and other times. I think the camera sort of leaves as the sun is setting over New Avalon at this dinner of family and camaraderie and humor. What I'm curious about then, lastly, is Kana. There's
Hi.
about 2 weeks here before like really stuff starts kicking into the next quest. Other than training, what has Kana been doing?
More training. Now,
Mhm.
aside from that, I mean, I think genuinely it's been mostly a lot about Kana really isolating in his training. Like, I think he's been very hard to get a hold of for the past 2 weeks. He's been really pushing himself, like really, really trying to like find out where his limits are and how to overcome them. So he's been spending a lot of time to himself, running himself through long stances and like incredibly intense like training routines and like going on like super early morning runs for like several dozen miles. Like he's been really, really pushing his physical and like spiritual routines as far as he can. And that's mostly been what he's occupied himself with the past 2 weeks. It's not something he's unaccustomed to. Kana's used to taking long periods of time to just like lock in and train. But I think this time it's been very single-minded because to him, there's a wall he hasn't passed yet. And that wall is the thing separating him from being able to summon liberation. And so in his mind, he is trying to push past that last wall and has been like single-mindedly focused on that.
Yeah. I think that you find that while it's difficult to get a hold of you because you're like moving around and training, you still probably train like in various places where there's people, and everywhere you go, you are noticed. You don't really stick around, like they're not trying to stop you from training, but you are seen in a way that even as someone who's like not from around here, obviously, it's still more direct than that. It's not that's a passing curiosity. It's we recognize that person. We're staying out of their way because what they're doing is important. How is the results of those training? Is that training? Do you feel like Kana's gotten close to this point, or is there still like a wall there?
I think it's been frustratingly close for at least the last week or so. To the point where he feels like he can do it, but he just hasn't pushed himself far enough. And I think that like where the scene resolves on him is like, I mean, assuming looking at the art here, there are several like lots of very high towering buildings in New Avalon. And I think Kana has found himself the most isolating position he can at the top of the tallest building he can get to without causing too much trouble. I say too much because he doesn't care if he causes trouble, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing is the tallest tower is the top of the Wizards College, which is not that difficult for Kana to access. As a beacon, you are effectively an honorary knight, like you are given the same privileges. So there are certain like security doors your average person would be told you can't go through here. But for you, it's like, yeah, we're going to write down that you did. And so, like, if a bunch of shit gets broken and you're the only one in here, you're going to be culprit. Like, they don't say that, but that's kind of the idea.
Oh, I mean, they wouldn't have to worry about that anyway. Kana climbed the outside.
Yeah. Which is like, yeah, if they find you, you'll be like, oh, yeah, it's one of the beacons. This is fine, odd, but fine. And it is like a tall spire with a flag. That if you really wanted to, you could even get on top of that, let alone like the rooftop point that it's mounted to.
He's on top of the flagpole, kind of just like standing there with his arms kind of at his sides and like taking very long, slow breaths. A warrior does not have limits. He has challenges. A warrior does not have limits. He has challenges. I do not have limits. And he seems very serious about this. Was there a thing you were going to say?
If you don't mind. Well, it's just, if you don't mind, I think there might be a character who enters this scene, but I don't want to, like, I don't know exactly where you're going with it.
I think before the character enters the scene, he'll take a moment and, like, almost, again, similar to what happened when training with Hayes, he'll kind of flex his arms a bit and, like, start to, like, shove his magic out as hard as he possibly can, is, like, gritting his teeth as hard as he can, his hair is kind of waving, his skin markings are glowing somewhat, cloud cover around him is kind of being pushed away in a bit of like a wide circle, and like he kind of brings both hands in front of him, and like again, like you can see a glowing like hard light ball kind of form in front of himself, and very, very slowly he pulls his hands apart, and it forms this ornately like slightly curved. It looks like a broadsword, or at least one in the hands of a normal person, but it is heavy and weighted, and has kind of like a handle, and then a sort of like where the guard is, it's a bit of a ring in the middle where there's another handle, and then it kind of edges out on twin flat blades that curve up into a point towards the end. And there's etched in lines and runes in the Kadrase ancient language, and it manifests in pure hard light, and then kind of grabs it, and it solidifies itself, and he opens his eyes and just smiles as hard as he can.
There is, I think through that effort, your usually extremely sharp magical senses were so focused on this.
100%.
You were only vaguely aware that someone has entered the roof at the bottom of this flagpole, effectively. You recognize them in this moment, almost more from their aura of steady immovability. It would almost seem like high magic if you didn't know for sure otherwise. The Knight Neil the Steadfast, the one who lost to you but convinced you to join the Beacon program, is standing there. He is not wearing his armor, but you can see that his armor is simply the physical manifestation of the kind of wizardry he is doing. As the magic you exuded spilled around him, and like the magical outline of his armor almost appeared for a moment in that time. And he watches respectfully. He doesn't interrupt. And as you say you got it, it's a beautiful blade.
It is my family's. It feels right to hold it.
I can understand completely. He gestures. He doesn't manifest the shield entirely, but the massive tower shield that you've seen before, it sort of manifests for a second. And this is my father's shield, and his father's before him. It feels right to protect people with it. Similar as I imagine, it feels right to wield that sword for you.
Is there a reason you were here, friend Neil?
Oh, well, the kind of construction evocation that I have been trying to practice recently is mostly the classes are in the top of this tower, and my position as a knight is as a guard in a lot of critical places, so I've been taking a lot of shifts up here at the top of the tower. I just noticed a familiar kind of magic up here. Thought I'd say hi.
I have been told my magic is like little other. It is a funny thing to hear it called familiar.
He chuckles to himself, like, well, it's been, you could say, motivational to have been defeated by you, and then see the amazing things that you and your friends have been doing. It's not something someone would soon forget.
Your praise is flattering. Your praise is flattering, friend.
He sort of does a slight bow. Of course, you're one of the beacons after all, and I need to step up to try and match you. I hope we see you in the game soon.
I have heard of these games. It would be enjoyable to face like-minded warriors. Test myself against them.
Yeah, we have tournaments somewhat regularly that are more for us as knights, but I believe in a month or two we should be coming up on the yearly games, the Arcanic Selectum. It's a fairly big deal. I'm sure that it's Anselm is your lead. Probably will suggest that you guys join as a team. They tend to be team events. There are individual ones, but I know me and my team would be more than excited to face yours.
Kana kind of kips back and then hops down off of the flagpole. I have heard the Wizards call Anselm my handler. A cute term to believe that I need one. Nonetheless,
Huh.
I will inform my compatriots of these games. I would wish to partake in them. And should we meet again in the face of combat, I would hope you are only stronger than you are even now.
Well, you could say I'm specialized, so with my team, I hope to put up a much greater fight than last time. And, don't worry about the term handler. Anselm says that a good handler is more about training, or helping the organization handle the contact, rather than handle the contact for the organization. And something tells me he has his hands full with you.
He would not be the first to attempt to tame me. I find it a fruitless endeavor, but a rather entertaining one.
Of that, I have no doubt. He will lead you to your sort of meditation up here, if there's nothing else. But
Yeah, I think he'll nod and thank him for his time, and as he parts, he'll kind of look back out to the skyline. Kana really loves high places. It's where he feels the most peace, so he'll kind of just take a seat and stare out into the horizon for a while and just think to himself, and where will this journey take me next? How will I be tested? What will I learn? And how will you, he holds liberation in one hand, how will you see me there?
yeah, I think in that moment we see, as Kana sees New Avalon from this high perch. You can see many of the moving crystal sort of sidewalks that are elevated, darting between buildings. The light catches the city like a multifaceted, complex jewel, alive with arcanic energy at all times. From here, the angles of the buildings are not meant to protect your eyes as much as they are down there, so there are sharp, bright beams in every direction. You see many of the little natural things around, like the squiffins that are also aboard the Aetherwake, chasing other random birds and bugs, and it is just as alive as any forest you've been in, just as real as any island, and here, just as full of adventure. And with that, I think that is an excellent place for us to end today's session. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for being here. I would love for my players, in the reverse order that they were introduced previously, to tell us who they are, who they've been playing, and where we can find them, starting with Foxy.
That's me! What's up, gang? I'm Young Foxy, aka Big Foxy, also known as your favorite Fox Philly's finest. If you're looking for me, I can be found all over the internet at Young Foxy. It's YUNGFOXXII, sometimes with an underscore in the middle. The next place you're going to see me on your screen is going to be exactly in about, roughly 6 days from now, back on your screen for another episode of Steel and Arbor. Next Friday, it's going to be a good little time as we talk about some things that happened. Afterwards, you'll see me for all kinds of other wonderful programming on this show, including Jump City Sirens, our Masked Adventure, Tears of Divinity, our Lancer Odyssey, and some other cool things that haven't been announced on your screen just yet. In other words, just, keep tuning in right here in Indiana Roleplay, see the fruits of my endless labor and all the other people that I bring along for the journey. It's been a great time. Y'all been incredible, and I've been Kana. Take care.
Hey, I believe next is Egg.
Yeah, hi, I'm Emily or Egg-chan, and I had the joy of playing Hayes. I was about to say the Orient Cavalier, that's the wrong character, Sapphire's Glare. You can find me as Egg-chan on the internet, on Itch and Twitch, and you can also find me here in a couple weeks, but not next week, for Jump City Sirens. And of course, Knights of New Avalon.
Next would be Chess.
Hey everyone, I have been Ajax, the Machina gunslinger, who, you know, tried to eat a salad. An attempt was made. Uh, half
That's
of
what's important.
a pie, I guess you could call it. And outer of lies, as unfortunate as it is for Hayes. Just like you should have fucking told them that.
Anywhere we can find you?
You'll next find me right back here on Neon Lights. You'll probably also find me in the Discord down below. But yeah, other than that, I'm not too active on the onlines.
You don't have to be. You're here, being an excellent robot gunslinger. Next, we will definitely have Lucian.
Hey, I'm Lucian. I played Cam, our dwarf life weaver that likes catching big fish, and catching all the fish.
Catching big
That's all he
fish.
does is he catches fish. I'm here on NLR. That's the only place I am on the internet. So see me here next week for Steel and Arbor, and then the week after that for another episode of this, Knights of New Avalon. Besides that, I'm in the Discord. Discord's a fun place to be.
Perfect. And thank you for being here. And thank you, Twitch. Thank you, Internet, for watching. My name is Tate Washburn. You can find me at Tate the Terrific at any place I care to be found. If you find me someplace else, no, you didn't. You actually should follow this channel's Blue Sky at Neon Lights Roleplay, because people who are much funnier than me run that and announce all the cool stuff we're doing. Or as my fellow co-host, I couldn't think of the word. My fellow cast members have said, you should join us on the Discord, where we meme and we stream and we sometimes pick up people for cool stuff like this. You'll find me next at Steel and Arbor next Friday. Where we are dealing with the fallout of some pretty dramatic events. And then 2 weeks from now on this show, and eventually we have some stuff that we're pre-recording that we're going to show you, but I'm not here to announce that quite yet. As I said before, thank you all for watching and joining us on Knights of New Avalon, a Beacon Odyssey, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.